Howdy, folks. I'm Farron Wise. Thanks for joining Consuelo and Ethan on today's episode. We're pretty sure you'll find it interesting. Our producer, Toby Eunice, would like you to know that he's put a link in the description box below this video. The link will lead you to a comprehensive briefing document on today's topic. While you're watching, please take a moment to like our video and make a comment. Also, if you're not already, please subscribe to our channel and click the notifications bell to make sure you're informed when we release each new episode. Now, let's get on with today's program.
All right, treasure hunters. There's nothing quite like the thrill of the chase, is there?
Yeah.
Deciphering those cryptic clues and exploring the unknown, and that heart-pounding moment when you unearth something hidden.
Oh, absolutely. I think it really does tap into like a primal instinct in us, that drive to explore, to solve mysteries, and to claim a prize that's been waiting for centuries.
You're so right. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today into the world of treasure hunt poems. Specifically, we're going to be comparing two that have captivated so many adventurers. Forrest Fenn's legendary poem from The Thrill of the Chase, and John Collins Black's brand new poem from his book, There's Treasure Inside.
Yeah, and I think what's really fascinating here is that, Collins Black is a former Fenn treasure hunter himself. So his new hunt is very much designed as a tribute to Fenn's legacy, but it's not just a simple imitation. Collins Black brings his own unique style and clues to the table, which creates a fresh challenge for those who, cut their teeth on Fenn's riddles.
Okay, so for our listeners who might be a little newer to this whole world, let's do a super quick recap of the Fenn phenomenon. His 24-line poem in his memoir set off this treasure hunt frenzy that lasted for like a decade. People were obsessed with finding that hidden chest in the Rocky Mountains, poring over every word and every possible interpretation.
It was incredible to witness. The online community that sprung up around Fenn's poem was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Countless blogs and forums and groups dedicated to cracking the code and sharing theories and organizing search parties.
And then, of course, Jack Stu found the treasure in 2020. But even that didn't completely settle the debate. Some people still argue that he might have just stumbled upon it rather than precisely deciphering every single clue.
Exactly. Fenn's poem was so masterfully ambiguous that even with the treasure being found, there's still this sense of mystery. There are unanswered questions.
Which leads us to John Collins Black and his decision to pick up the torch, so to speak. He's hidden 5 treasure chests in his hunt, and each one has its own unique set of clues. But for today's deep dive, we're going to focus specifically on the Forrest Fenn treasure box and the poem that he wrote for it.
Yeah, and this is particularly relevant for our listeners who are actively involved in the Collins Black hunt, especially those who have experience with Fenn's poem. Analyzing these two poems side by side can give you a real edge in your search.
Now, I know both poems are 24 lines long and they have a similar structure. Is that Collins Black intentionally paying homage to Fenn?
Absolutely. I think it's a clever move to create a sense of familiarity for, seasoned Fenn treasure hunters. But when you start to dig into the actual clues in the language, you realize that Collins Black isn't just copying Fenn. He's weaving his own distinct style and personality into the poem.
So it's like he's inviting us to use our knowledge of Fenn's work as a starting point, but then challenging us to adapt our thinking and to be open to new interpretations.
Precisely. It's like a treasure hunt within a treasure hunt. A meta-puzzle that requires us to consider both the similarities and the differences between these two brilliant minds.
Okay, I'm already hooked. So before we dive into the poems themselves, I have to ask, Collins Black acquired some items from the Fenn treasure auction, right? Including Fenn's autobiography sealed in a wax olive jar.
Yes, and that jar is actually part of the Forrest Fenn treasure box that he's hidden. Imagine that. You could potentially find a piece of the original Fenn treasure within Collins Black's treasure.
That's wild. What do you think Fenn would have thought about that? It's like Collins Black is creating a living legacy by connecting his hunt to the one that captivated so many.
It's a brilliant way to honor Fenn's memory while also pushing the treasure hunt genre forward. And I think Fenn, with his love of adventure and mystery, would have been absolutely delighted by it.
Okay, so let's get into the poems themselves. I'm really curious to see how Collins Black echoes and diverges from Fenn's style. And more importantly, what clues can we glean from those differences to help us in the hunt?
Excellent point. Let's start by looking at the first stanza of each poem Fenn sets the stage with. As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old.
Wow. Even just those first few lines, you immediately get that sense of mystery of a lone figure venturing into the wilderness with a secret to protect. It's so evocative.
It is. And that deliberate vagueness is classic Fenn. We don't know who I is or where there is, but we're instantly drawn into the narrative.
And the phrase treasures bold adds to that sense of adventure. It's not just any trigger, it's something valuable, something worth risking everything for. Okay, so how does Collins Black open his poem?
Here's his first stanza. I cruise along a road I know and park my car just off the side near where I'd searched for heavy loads. It was not there, although I'd tried.
Okay, so right away it feels very different from Fenn's opening. We go from this poetic, almost mythical language to a much more grounded conversational style. It's like Collins Black is inviting us on a road trip.
Exactly. And notice how he's grounding the poem in his own personal experience. Near where I'd searched for heavy loads. He's acknowledging his own history as a Fenn treasure hunter.
That's a really interesting point. It's like he's saying, I've been in your shoes, I've felt the thrill of the chase, and now I'm creating a new challenge based on my own journey. It makes it feel more personal and relatable.
Absolutely. And that line, it was not there, although I'd tried, adds this layer of intrigue. What was he looking for? Why wasn't it there? It sets up a whole new set of questions that draw us deeper into the poem.
So even though Collins Black is using this more straightforward conversational style, he's still weaving in that sense of mystery and those clues that need to be deciphered. It's like he's found the perfect balance between accessibility and challenge.
Exactly. He's inviting a wider range of treasure hunters to participate, but he's not making it easy. You still need to think critically and connect the dots and be willing to put in the effort to solve the puzzle.
Okay, this is fascinating. I'm eager to see how these two poems continue to unfold. Let's dive into the second stanza and see what other clues we can uncover. Okay, so we're back, and we're ready to dig into stanza number 2. Where do we pick up?
Right. So we left off at that first stanza, and so this is the second stanza of Fenn's poem. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk. Put in below the home of brown.
Oh, man. Warm waters halt, canyon down, home of brown. These phrases became absolute obsessions for Fenn treasure hunters. Everyone had their own theories about what they meant, and it sparked endless debate online.
Oh, it's amazing how Fenn managed to pack so much mystery into such simple language. Each phrase is like a doorway to 1,000 different possibilities.
All right, so let's see how Collins Black responds to these clues in his second stanza.
Okay, his second stanza reads, begin it where cool water flows and follow through the canyon round. Take in the rolling highs and lows, pass by a place where once was brown.
Whoa, okay, cool water flows. Feels like a direct parallel to Fenn's warm waters halt. It's like he's acknowledging the connection, but also adding his own twist.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, is he playing with our expectations? Is he leading us down a similar path, or is he trying to throw us off the scent?
Right. It's like he's challenging us to apply our Fenn knowledge, but also to be open to new interpretations. And what about canyon round versus canyon down? That feels significant too.
Definitely, Fenn's canyon down implies a descent, a journey into the depths. But Collins Black's canyon round suggests a more winding path, like a longer exploration.
So it could be that Collins Black's treasure is hidden somewhere along the journey and not necessarily at the bottom of a canyon. That changes the whole search strategy.
And don't forget that line, pass by a place where once was brown. Again, it's a clear nod to Fenn, but with a crucial difference, once was, implies that this place has changed. Perhaps it no longer exists in the same way.
Ooh, that adds a historical element to the clue. We need to consider the passage of time and how things might have looked differently in the past. It's not just about deciphering the words, but understanding the context and the history of the location.
Exactly. And that's where research and local knowledge can really come into play. It's not enough to just rely on the poem. You need to do your homework and explore historical records and talk to people who know the area well.
Okay, I'm getting a much better sense now of how Collins Black is building upon Fenn's legacy while also creating his own unique challenge. He's not just rewriting the same poem. He's adding layers of complexity and historical depth and a playful sense of misdirection.
And I think that's what makes his treasure hunt so exciting. It's both familiar and new, and it's challenging us to think critically and to adapt our strategies based on the clues that he's giving us.
Right. Let's move on to stanza number 3.
Okay, sounds good.
What do we got?
So here's Fenn's third stanza. From there, it's no place for the meek. The end is drawing ever nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high.
Okay, this stanza feels different.
Yeah.
There's a shift in tone. It feels like more urgency, almost like a warning. No place for the meek, and the end is drawing ever nigh. It's like he's saying time is running out. Are you brave enough to continue?
Yeah, it's a brilliant way to raise the stakes, to remind treasure hunters that this isn't just a game. There are real risks involved, and only the most determined will succeed.
And that imagery of no paddle up your creek is so powerful. It emphasizes self-reliance, the need to be resourceful and prepared for any challenge.
Right, and heavy loads and water high paint this very vivid picture of the obstacles that you might encounter. It's not a leisurely stroll in the park. This is a serious adventure.
So let's see how Collins Black responds to this heightened sense of urgency and challenge in his third stanza.
Here it is. From here you are more on your own. The path is always drawing nigh. The compass points now towards the home of point and tree and seeing eye.
Okay, so we see that echo again. From here you are more on your own, reflecting Fenn's no place for the meek. But it doesn't feel quite as ominous, does it?
You're right, there is a subtle difference in tone. I think Collins Black is acknowledging the need for self-reliance, but he's also offering a sense of reassurance.
I see that. It's like he's saying, yes, this is a tough challenge, but you're not alone, Trust your instincts and follow the clues and you'll find your way.
And notice how he introduces the compass here. It's like a subtle hint that we need to pay attention to direction and the lay of the land.
Ah, that makes sense. It's not just about deciphering the words, but understanding the geography and the terrain.
Yeah.
What about that last line of point and tree and seeing eye? That's a real head scratcher.
It is, isn't it? It's almost like a riddle within a riddle. Point could refer to a specific location on a map. Tree is fairly straightforward. But seeing eye is where it gets really interesting.
What could that mean? Is it a literal eye, like a symbol carved into a tree? Or is it something more metaphorical, like the seeing eye of intuition? The ability to see the clues that others might miss.
Ooh, I like that. It's like Collins Black is challenging us to not just rely on logic and deduction, but to trust our gut feelings and our instincts.
Man, this is getting deep.
Right.
I love how Collins Black is weaving in these layers of meaning and these subtle hints that require us to think outside the box.
He's a master of misdirection, that's for sure. But I think that's part of the fun. It's not just about finding the treasure, it's about the mental challenge and the thrill of deciphering the code and the satisfaction of finally cracking the puzzle.
Okay, so we're halfway through these poems and I'm already hooked.
Me too.
Let's dive into the final 3 stanzas and see how these treasure hunts reach their climax. Okay, so we're back and things are getting really interesting now. We're about to dive into the final 3 stanzas of these treasure hunt poems. I'm on the edge of my seat here, eager to see how these hunts unfold. So remind me where we left off with Fenn's poem.
All right, so we just finished that third stanza with that warning about it being no place for the meek. And so we're moving on to the fourth stanza, which reads, "If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease, but tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace."
Uh-huh. It feels like we're getting close to the treasure now. Found the blaze. Suggests that we've hit a crucial turning point, a sign that we're on the right track.
Absolutely. And Fenn's instructions are crystal clear at this point, Look down, grab the chest, and get out of there. No time for sightseeing or celebrating just yet. It adds to the sense of urgency, of a hidden prize that's meant to be claimed swiftly and discreetly.
I wonder why he emphasizes go in peace. It's almost like he's envisioning this moment of discovery as a quiet, almost spiritual experience.
That's a great observation. Perhaps for Fenn, the real treasure wasn't just the chest itself, but the journey, the intellectual and physical challenge of the hunt, and finding peace in that accomplishment.
All right, let's see how Collins Black handles this pivotal moment in his fourth stanza.
Okay, his fourth stanza reads, "Stop just beyond the camper's blaze. A thinker's stone is all you need. The spot is set with marvel gaze. A white mark shows upon the seat." Okay,
camper's blaze. Another clear link to Fenn, but with a twist. It feels more grounded and relatable to our everyday experiences. We've all seen a campfire or a trail marker left by fellow outdoor enthusiasts.
Exactly. Fenn's blaze feels almost mythical, like a sign from destiny. But Collins Black is bringing it down to earth, reminding us that this treasure hunt is happening in the real world in places that we might actually visit.
And then he throws in, a thinker's stone is all you need.
Yeah.
Now that's intriguing. What do you make of that?
It's definitely cryptic, but to me it suggests that the treasure isn't hidden in plain sight. You need to use your intellect and your powers of observation to really see it. Maybe it's cleverly camouflaged or hidden in a way that requires you to solve a puzzle on the spot.
Ooh, that's a cool idea. It's like he's adding an extra layer of challenge, making sure that the treasure only goes to those who are truly worthy. Okay, and then we get a white mark shows up on the seat.
Wow, that's a very specific clue, almost too specific.
It is, isn't it? It makes me wonder if Collins Black is intentionally making his hunt a bit more accessible and solvable than Fenn's. Maybe he wants to ensure that a wider range of people can experience the joy of finding the treasure without getting bogged down in endless interpretations. That's a good point. It's like he's striking a balance between challenge and reward, making sure that the hunt is exciting but also achievable. All right, let's move on to stanza number 5. What does Fenn have in store for us?
Okay, so his fifth stanza takes a reflective turn. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak.
Oh, wow. This is where we see Fenn's vulnerability, his humanity. He's acknowledging his own mortality, the fact that he can't hold on to his treasure forever.
Yes, and there's this sense of peace in that acceptance. He's passing the torch to a new generation of adventurers, allowing them to experience the same thrill of the chase that he did.
It's a powerful message about legacy, about the things we leave behind and the impact we have on others. All right, so how does Collins Black respond to this theme of legacy?
His fifth stanza reads, "Near here, it's nestled all in dream. I've other treasures left to hide. I'll miss the golden bending stream, but I must go back to my ride."
Nestled all in dream. That's such a beautiful image. It suggests that the treasure is safe, patiently waiting for its destined finder.
Yes, and there's a sense of completion of a chapter closing. But then he throws in, "I've other treasures left to hide." It's like he's saying this is just the beginning. There are more adventures to come.
And I love that line. I'll miss the golden bending stream.
Yeah.
It feels like such a direct nod to Fenn's treasure, a bittersweet farewell to a chapter that's now closed.
Absolutely. But I must go back to my ride. Brings us back to reality, to the everyday world, but with a newfound sense of purpose, of having created something truly special for others to discover.
Okay, we're down to the final stanza, the grand finale. Let's hear Fenn's closing lines.
All right, Fenn ends his poem with this powerful call to action. "So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold."
Wow, it's like a perfect encapsulation of the whole treasure hunt experience.
Yeah.
It's about courage and perseverance and the reward that awaits those who dare to seek it.
And that emphasis on the cold is a reminder that this is no easy feat. It's a test of your physical and mental strength, a challenge that will push you to your limits.
But the reward is worth it. I give you title to the gold. It's like he's officially passing on the mantle, giving his blessing to the next generation of treasure hunters. All right, Collins Black, let's hear your closing argument.
Okay, his final stanza reads, "So listen well and hear me all. Your efforts will be worth the high. If you can mark warm water's halt, you'll bring it back full weight and dry."
Okay, we see that echo again, the emphasis on effort and reward. But instead of the cold, he gives us the high. It feels like a different kind of challenge, maybe more of a mental or emotional one.
Yes, it's about the thrill of the chase, the intellectual satisfaction of solving the puzzle. And that clue, "mark warm water's halt," is particularly intriguing, especially given the earlier reference to cool water flows.
Right, it suggests a transition, a specific point where the water changes temperature. This could be like a key piece of the puzzle leading us directly to the treasure's location.
And then he ends with that reassurance. You'll bring it back full, weight, and dry. It's like he's saying, don't worry, the treasure is safe and sound, just waiting for you to find it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are like the key takeaways for our listeners who are actively searching for Collins Black's Forrest Fenn treasure box?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that Collins Black is both honoring Fenn's legacy and creating something new. He's inviting us to use our Fenn knowledge, but also to be open to new interpretations and new ways of thinking.
He's challenging us to adapt and to be creative and to trust our instincts. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be a lucky one to crack the code and claim the prize.
And one last thought to ponder before you head out on your next adventure. Collins Black has said that he designed his treasure boxes to be puzzles themselves. Just imagine a treasure hunt within a treasure hunt.
That's incredible. What a brilliant way to extend the challenge and keep the excitement going even after that initial discovery. All right, treasure hunters, it's time to put those thinking caps on and get out there. We're so eager to hear about your discoveries.
Well, folks, we hope you found today's video interesting and informative. Make sure to hit the like button if you did. Also, think about sharing it with another treasure hunter. And if you're not already a subscriber, please take a moment to do so now. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, and remember, there's a treasure out there waiting for you to find it.